Welcome back, everybody, to Madrid Platform. We're about to conclude our second day of the event. We just have today now, and to close today's session, we are going to talk about something that we've been talking about over the last 2 days, which is the collaboration between the public and the private sector, something that is very strategic if we are to make progress with this hub. And so to understand this workshop on public-private partnerships, we have 3 speakers. Fernando Herrero Aceves, who is the Director General of Innovation and Entrepreneurship in the Town Hall of Madrid. We have Juan Coro Becela, who is the Director of Technology and Innovation for the EMT, which is the Madrid Transport Company, and Telma Carlini Bioglini, who is the Director of Innovation and Financial Control for IFEMA in Madrid, and the moderator is Luis Miguel Cipres, the CEO of Barabes. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. I'm delighted to be here with you, and I'm very happy to be here with 3 people who are the leaders in innovation in a position that's not always easy, because if you're in public or semi-public organizations, but these are 3 examples who have come here with case studies to tell us about it. So this is Juan on the left, Telma and Fernando. And so, without further ado, I think we're going to start with you, Telma. If you will allow me to take off the mask to talk. I think it's important. Given that this is an international audience, maybe you could tell us a bit about your business? So IFEMA is shared by the region, the town hall, the Chamber of Commerce. In Madrid, it's the conference center of the city. And we are considered to be very similar to the public sector, closely related to the public sector. And we organize conferences, congresses, and our mission is to dynamize the city and encourage the entrepreneurial fabric in the city. Thank you. You need to decide what you're going to do with your mask, because you're rubbing the microphone with your mask and it's making it very difficult to listen. Best to just take the microphone, the mask off. Okay, 2 trends. One, which is a more fundamental question with COVID and IFEMA. How has this affected the strategy in IFEMA? Well, we were working on digitalization before COVID. We have a transformation office, and we were aware of the importance of the digital world and the changes that were coming. And then, obviously, COVID has accelerated this context, and the digital context has conditioned all of the realities, and we had to immediately define our strategies. Now, if we look at these new strategies which we have defined for these realities, we have seen that in-person congresses and conferences was the only real marketing tool where all of the supply and all of the demand was under the same roof at the same time in a specific moment. And this could generate lots of networking, lots of business, lots of opportunities, gave us lots of activities, and it would help to make these encounters a real business opportunity. Now, with the new reality, digitalization means that lots of barriers have been removed, the time barriers, geographical barriers, and physical barriers. And so this means that we have had to redefine business in order to accelerate the incorporation of the digital context. And we have thought about creating a digital platform for our various congresses and encounters, but also for permanent encounters between professional communities, and a 365-day platform, because we're professionally connected all year round now, and means that there are no geographical barriers now. And so mobility, international mobility, has completely transformed our business. For the last year, we've been practically unable to carry out congresses. And so now we're just starting again slowly with very small events. We had an event in March. There was a contemporary art fair in April, and then we're going to have the big international fete, which is FITUR, which is the tourism fair, and we're happy that this is going to be taking place in the next couple of weeks here in Madrid. And it's true that this will be the first international fair which will be organized in Europe, and it will be a hybrid event. There will be some people present and others attending digitally. And in this renovation of the business climate, we've also seriously considered the fact that business has changed, but also contact has changed, meetings have changed between professionals, and we have had to adapt to new technologies, to digitalization, and we've changed formats. We have different cost models and different income models, and now we're really in the middle of these changes. We've still got a long way to go. I can see what you're saying. This is a complete transformation. There's people listening to us in our fellow countries in Latin America, in Spain as well. And I think that public-private partnerships are basically the foundation of your work. Now, what innovative initiatives have been taken from the public-private point of view? Yes, well, the public-private collaboration is really part of the DNA of our work. Events are part of each sector's ecosystem. We don't represent a single sector. We bring together sectors, and so we are constantly looking for business opportunities. And obviously, digitalization is helping us to reach more SMEs. And we are allowing everybody to feel the benefits of digitalization. In the physical context, our halls at IFEMA have installations, plugs, for example. But that doesn't really matter if there's no content. But now content is going beyond space and beyond halls. But what we need to have now is a hall in the cloud, which would be full of content and people. And in this context, we're trying to encourage everybody to take on a digital approach, and we will be able to generate business opportunities across various sectors. We're generating lots of cross-sectoral content to facilitate and make easier to understand new products or new aspects. And we're generating relevant content that can be used by companies in the cloud. We also have collaborations with other Congress centers, with other organizers. We are also organizing shared events. We have shared brands. And so our DNA really is to be part of a public-private partnership. Okay. And now you've answered my first set of questions. So you work in a number of different industries. How does this fit with the objectives of Madrid platform and this relationship between Europe and Latin America? Well, we've always wanted to work with Latin America, and we've also have constantly worked with Latin America. We have agreements with a number of different Congress centers in Latin America, with consultancy firms, with training organizations. It's a natural market for us, of course. But in the digital context, of course, we now have global audiences, and the global audiences are bringing the world closer to us. And for us, Latin America is a natural audience for us, and we are looking at the organization of congresses in new sectors such as health or transport, and we're looking at digital content that could be perfectly well extrapolated to all of Latin America because of the fact that we share the same language, and this makes things a lot easier. And we know that we have these global audiences with these cloud-based events, which allow us to distribute more events to different countries. We look locally, but we're thinking globally. Juan, let's go to you now. So, Juan, you represent the transport sector. So, Madrid, as a city, as an urban hub, as a very international city, requires transport, obviously, from the point of view of the EMT, the Madrid Transport Authority. How do you see the public-private partnership? I want to present the EMT first. She was allowed to present IFEMA. I want to present the EMT. Yes, absolutely. You're completely right, Juan. Present the IFEMA, please. So, we are a municipal transport company. We are owned by the town hall. We run the buses. In Madrid, we have a bike sharing service as well, and the concessions for these services are provided to the MT. We also have a cable car service. It's more of a touristic service. And we also have the clamping machines, and we have existed for 75 years, with thousands of employees. And this means that now mobility is a trend at the moment. It's fashionable at the moment because of sustainability, and COVID has made things very difficult at one point. So now we're having to transform, we're having to do it very fast. We've always used the symbolism of the Ark, Noah's Ark. What can we do to take advantage of what's happened to overcome the pandemic? Well, when did Noah create the Ark? And this has strengthened our desire. So, are we capable, because, for example, to roll out these contactless payment systems, we were able to have systems which allowed us to know how many people were in a bus at any one time or in a metro train at any one time. because we have been having pilot experiences checking the capacity levels of buses, and this has reinforced our vocation, which is to use these new technologies. And now you've given us a glimpse of this, but the vision of the EMT is to bring innovation to the city, improve the citizens' quality of life, and encourage, and transport is one of the ways of improving quality of life. And you've worked with large and small companies. For example, there's one example, Madrid Motion. Maybe you could tell us something about this. This is a mobility project. How, from the point of view of a company of your size, what has this public-private partnership done to help you generate innovation, which is your goal, isn't it? Well,
cuando uno vive aislado, pues puede ser el más listo de su pueblo. Pero claro, ser el más listo de Europa es como más complicado, ¿no? Entonces, eso te das cuenta.
Well, so when you can't go anywhere, you suddenly realize that we all share a lot of challenges and you can't innovate alone. And only very advanced ecosystems are those that help you to evolve. And so if we've got concentrations of knowledge in certain areas, then we can develop these things. And so that's why we're all taking part in this local ecosystem. We can't do this on our own, and we are lucky enough that here in Madrid, there's an endless amount of initiatives, which are, and one of the leading ones was Madrid Future. And this company wanted to do something about mobility, wanted an integrated intermodal system. I'm not going to say more because otherwise I'm going to end up talking about what Fernando wants to talk about later on. So we couldn't do this on our own, and we decided to do a mixed. So for example, it's like the Spanish omelette. Some people can do it well, some people can't. It's the same ingredients, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So what does Madrid in Motion have? It has this component of a big company, the service provider, and then the small company, and this is the combination. And we are very pleased with Madrid in Motion, because the second or the third source of income in the company is publicity. We have 2,000 buses circulating around the city every day, and we can advertise on these buses. And so our second or third source of income is publicity, advertising. So by advertising, by adapting our advertising and making it more efficient, adapting it to individuals, so we set a challenge to try and find a way of innovating with our advertising and improve this fundamental aspect of our activity. Because if we can fragment and make things smaller and make things more accessible, then we can take advantage of this in our advertising.
Of course, there are other actors in the ecosystem, banks, car companies. Last year, it was called My Street Book. It tried to combine cultural activity, digitalization, personal recommendations. Next year I will say a different thing. I would say we're faking, we're just evolving with each coming year. Hyper-customized routes for the cultural enjoyment of the city. One could arrive to Madrid, take line 27 that goes south to north in Madrid to the Castellana, and it will bring you into cultural and gastronomical spaces that you could visit. I'm going to stay in this hotel, I have these hours to enjoy, and they could do this customized route and enjoy these places that are highly valued. And this happens thanks to Madrid in motion. Well, this is that the city allows to have this small startups to collaborate with the EMT. Really creates innovation. Yes, I'm not going to talk anymore about it because Fernando, this is Fernando's share. You're going to tell him much better than I will. No, of course not. How do we do things? Well, we try to have room for collaboration and contact. We're constrained because we are public entities. We have to follow certain restrictions and regulations. So this has generated certain difficulties to becoming in touch with other companies. Now we present things we need to solve, and the market can show you solutions. Innovation ecosystems are levers for transformation. Your examples in Madrid for public-private partnerships, these are all possible. I'm going to start talking now with Fernando. But Juan, I don't know if this was the main focus of the EMT, this international collaboration. But if we take into account the purpose of Madrid platform, what bridges with Latin America do we have? Our international collaboration is key. We have signed contracts and collaborations with over 40 countries. One of the things of a company as old as we are, with so many users, that we end up learning things so we can help other cities. All of these challenges we've had to face has helped us have enormous expertise, and we have also digital assets, certain developments that we have created within our company, within our public company. We have our own department of consulting. We're always meeting with authorities, operators, try to find digital identities as a way to work in transport, multi-route operators. We always end up meeting our collaborators from Latin America so that we can help them out. The first assessment is we are always happy to do it. If we need to do a lot of work, we will charge for it. We also offer consulting services. We have signed contracts with several partners that have technologies similar to what we have. If someone is interested on what we have, well, we have lots of things to sell. Thank you so much, Juan. Now let's go to talk with Fernando. Last but not least, you lead the innovation in a city as Madrid. I'm sure you can talk about many things. We can start with a very good example that has been highly visible. The nave. What's the nave? Fernando, what's the ship?
Lo poco que puedo hablar de la nave es que quizás por
I can talk very little about this.
mi pelo cano, el que tiene los antecedentes
I already
históricos.
have white hair. I'm one of
Aterricé en el
the
ayuntamiento hace ya muchos años.
oldest people, one of the people who has been for the longest time in the town hall.
Era una cosa inimaginable.
Someone proposed a very crazy project, a whole building dedicated to innovation back in 2007.
Mi ingenua respuesta fue, bien, pues hagámoslo en el centro de Madrid.
I very naively replied, okay, let's do it in downtown Madrid. And he said, well, if it was to be done in downtown Madrid, I wouldn't need you. So we started thinking about creating this space for innovation, something that will attract people, startups, people with potential, with talent, but that wouldn't be in downtown Madrid. It will be in a space that will need to be dynamized. When you ask me what is the nave, the answer will be now it's a symbol. A symbol that in Madrid, innovation is not only that it's done spontaneously, because it's a city with a lot of activity, and it's a space that brings together all of the citizens of Madrid, everyone who wants to do activities in Madrid, and it also serves as a reference point that brings together hardware and software. A valuable space with aesthetic potential. That was a key aspect. We refurbished an old building that had lots of history. There are people who don't know what it is, but they feature it in Instagram. That's important to show that it's a symbol. I'm sure you remember back in the 80s, people look into computers and they only look into the hardware. I have this many megabytes. And now people don't look so much into how powerful computers are, but what type of software they have. So right now, the nave is reaching that stage. We have already built the hardware. The building has huge potential because of its size, of how it's organized, the possibility of having a daily activity dedicated to business accelerators, startups. But there's also room for large events. And we always try to connect with technology and innovation. Once we have finished this stage of hardware, now we're going into the stage of software. We're trying to develop a product inside that has its own value. That software is something that we do with private collaboration. The public sector on its own wouldn't be capable of doing this. It has a huge value to bring together all of the innovation sector of the city to generate an even bigger potential. That's the reality. Well, that's software, if you will allow me. It's intelligent software. You can change the programs so you can have what you actually need at any given time for any given event. Yes. Of course, it's intelligent, and it's not because of me, definitely. It's relevant because it can adapt. When you have a small child and you start training them, they go to school, they learn new things, but when the child matures and becomes a teenager, you can no longer guide them. They choose their own university, they choose what they want to study, and that's what we want to do at the NAVE. We were not building a program where everyone has to learn the same things. We want to offer a wide array of choices. That's why Madrid is now going from a smart city to become a startup city. And the concept is not just because the words sound good, but because we have to learn from startups to be quick to adapt. During COVID, it has been startups, the ones who first reacted to these situations. Then came the public administration, the private sector, but the first to respond were the startups. We want to generate a very dynamic environment. Right now we have acceleration programs, we have Madrid in Motion, tomorrow we will be doing something different. During COVID, we were very lucky because we had already gotten into this digital world, so it wasn't so difficult to transfer all of our activity into the digital world. Actually, it made our borders disappear, and we collaborate even more with Latin America, Europe. And this happened to Madrid before, but now we have left behind this local perspective. Madrid is a place you can come close to physically. We're in the middle of the world. If you look at the map, but you can also come near us through all of the activity that we have through internet. We're in the middle of the world. If you look at the other side of the globe, it's all water. From Europe is the point from which it will take the least time to travel by plane to any other airport. Because we're close, we have many connections. What collaborative ideas from a model like the NAVE? We're talking about ecosystems, creating well-being, employment in our city. What ways of collaborating with Latin America do you have in mind? I must confess, Latin America is my obsession.
A mí me da rabia eso de que la deriva de los continentes cada vez nos estemos alejando, y me gustaría más que pasase al revés, que nos fuésemos acercando.
I would like for continents to get closer, like, because I'm fully convinced that the potential that has a unique culture that is shared by all of Latin America. I can start walking from Tierra de Fuego in the south of the American continent into Alaska and only speaking the same language, one language. I can't make English speakers laugh with my jokes, but you can go throughout the whole of Latin America. Okay, I'm not funny. I don't make people laugh either in Latin America, but unconsciously, I can't also make humor in English. This has a huge value. I don't think we're aware. It maybe can happen in huge countries such as the United States or China itself. But Latin America has a diversity within the whole region. That value is amazing. When I said it's my obsession, what I meant
las actividades que estamos haciendo ahora con los emprendedores en Madrid
is
están
that,
muy
well,
enfocadas
in fact,
a
we're
que
doing
amplíen
this
su
with some of the
negocio, sobre
activities
todo
with
a
the
Iberoamérica, porque
entrepreneurs
creo que es
in
el
Madrid.
primer
Is
salto
focused on
natural
making
que
business
tenemos
with
para
Latin
ir allí,
America. I think
que Iberoamérica, el primer salto natural que tiene para venir a Europa
the
es sin
first
duda España,
step for
y
us
que ese potencial hay que aprovechar.
and for
Esto es
Latin
una
America going into
ventaja
Europe, we are
clara
their first
frente al resto de
stepping
competidores,
stone.
porque ahora ya competimos con el mundo entero. Un emprendedor que
We also
nace
right
en
now we're
España
competing with
tiene que tener
the
muy
rest
claro que,
of the world.
como todos, que tienes dos vías, ¿no? O bueno, o quedarme localmente,
You can
puede ser más o menos
choose
feliz,
two
o
paths. You
si
can
quiero
stay
ser ambicioso, si
locally
quiero
if you want to
que mi
be
negocio perdure en el
happy,
tiempo,
but if I
no me
want
queda
for
más
my
remedio que
business
crecer.
to last in
Hoy en día
time,
uno no puede
I have
estancarse
to grow.
y ese crecimiento pasa inexorablemente por abrirse al mundo.
And that growth goes through opening up into the world.
Para terminar, una última pregunta.
To finish,
Como tú eres
one
más
last
gente, más
question.
que cualquiera de los que estamos aquí seguramente, pero en este mundo hay muchos hypes que se llaman modas.
In this
por
world, there
ejemplo,
are
los
many
espacios,
hypes,
coworkings a nivel
trends,
de ayuntamientos y gestores
many working spaces at the
ciudades,
level of
de
town
su
halls,
evolución,
cities.
pero fíjate
They
que hablamos de
evolve,
2007,
but we're talking
acabas de
about
citar.
2007.
Entonces, de cara, de nuevo, a la audiencia, homólogos tuyos de otras ciudades, de otros países que puedan estar pensando en activar o
People like you in
algo
other
parecido
cities, in
a
other
un
countries who
espacio,
might be
¿vale?
thinking about
Recuperando un poco estos mensajes que dabas de aprendizaje de todos estos años
projects
de
such
modelo
as
inteligente,
what you have done with the NAVE.
recomendaciones o consejos
What
basados en la
recommendations,
experiencia
what
podrías dar para que realmente estos
tips
modelos, más allá de
could
poner
you
unos ladrillos y
offer
esperar que la gente venga, ¿no? Que es lo que ya se sabe que no funciona,
for them?
son,
Not
como lo has
just
dicho, la
putting
nave
up some
está en un espacio,
bricks
en un
to
barrio,
build
en una
it.
zona especial de Madrid, quiero decir, por la que se apostó directamente de hacerlo ahí, porque no era la zona obvia, como tú decías, que era el centro. Pero bueno, de cara a recomendaciones a alguien que sienta la necesidad de darle una
The
vuelta,
recommendation of someone who would like to turn over a space similar to that, what would you like to share?
Pues igual que el símil que he comentado de la informática, de los ordenadores, que hoy en día es
Like
impensable
the
pensar solo en el hardware o solo en el software. Yo creo que esto es un poco
explanation
lo
I
mismo.
gave about software and
Cuando uno
hardware,
plantea
that we
que
no
tiene que
longer
haber un
think of it just
espacio
hardware and
que
software.
sea un
When one
referente
thinks about in
nacional,
space, they can
internacional,
work
tiene que
as
pensar
a
en el
reference
espacio
at a
físico,
national
pero
or
también en lo que
international
tiene
level.
dentro del
One has
contenido,
to think
como decía
both
Telma,
of the
no cabe duda. Y cuanto más converjan ambos,
container as
cuanto
much
más,
as of the
cuanto mejor
content.
encajen, pues mejor te van a ir las cosas, no cabe la menor duda, ¿no?
The more things fit in, the
Cuando hemos
better things
entrado
are
en
going
este
to work
mundo,
out for you.
debido al COVID tan virtual,
When we
nos hemos dado
entered,
cuenta que hay
due to
cosas,
COVID, into
por
this
lo menos hasta
virtual
ahora no
world,
hemos conseguido.
there are many things that we haven't
No
managed
hemos
up until
conseguido.
now.
Hablar ante 10 personas no es lo mismo que hablar ante 200. Aunque
Talking
las
in
cámaras
front of
estén
10 people is not the
enfocando
same
y
as
detrás haya
talking
mucha
in
más
front
gente, ¿no?
of 200. Even if
Existen
cameras
ciertos
are
gestos, cierta
focusing on
comunicación
you, there are
que todavía el
certain
mundo digital
gestures,
no es capaz de
certain
mantener.
communications
Por
that the
ejemplo, un problema que hemos tenido
digital
o que no
world
conseguimos todavía resolver
cannot
es el tema
solve.
de las rondas de inversión, ¿no? Que las seguimos haciendo en
Investment
presencial,
rounds, for
porque
instance,
cuando
we
una persona
still
quiere
do them
conocer a
in
alguien para
person,
invertir en su
because when
empresa,
someone wants to
no
know
sirven 1000
someone
mails ni 1000 reuniones por
to
Zoom.
have them
O sea,
invest in their
necesitas
country,
esos
they're,
segundos de contacto cercano. Y no hay
it's
ninguna
not
otra
enough
manera.
with
No sé si
Zoom
con
meetings or
avatares en el
emails. You
futuro,
need in-person,
posiblemente todo
face-to-face
llegue, ¿no? Pero hay
contact.
que ver el presente. Y
We
en el
need to
presente, el
be
contacto
in the
físico para
present,
muchas cosas es
and the
necesario.
physical
Y
contact
el
is needed
entorno
for
de
many
ese contacto
things.
físico también lo es. La
And the
nave,
environment of that
absolutamente.
physical contact,
Y para terminar, perdona si me enrollo
it's
mucho,
important so.
hay otro valor muy
It's
importante.
important too.
La nave está en un espacio, está en un distrito,
The
del distrito
nave
más grande de Madrid, que es
is in
Villaverde,
the biggest
que
district
en
in
sus
Madrid,
tiempos fue
Villaverde,
gran distrito industrial,
which
de hecho,
back
Nave
in
era
time was an
una famosa
industrial
fábrica, y con la
area.
reconversión
Nave
industrial,
was
pues,
actually
sufrió
a famous
un problema
factory.
muy grande. De repente, un montón de espacios, un montón de edificios se quedaron sin utilidad porque
After the
cerraron las
industrial
fábricas
period,
y un montón de
many
personas
buildings
que
were
trabajaban
emptied,
y tenían esa
and
actividad
many people
económica,
who
pues,
work
obviamente se
on that
redujo
sector of the economy
su desarrollo económico muchísimo,
had
y
their
eso provocó
economic
que el
development
barrio perdiera mucha
stalled,
población.
and the neighborhood
A día de
lost
hoy,
lots of their
en
neighbors.
la nave, por ejemplo,
Nowadays,
pasan, no en este de COVID, pero un año normal, en
the fact that
2019
in a
pasaron casi
normal
100.000 personas.
year, there are
Todos los
almost
días,
100,000
abre
people
prácticamente
that
todos
walk
los
through
días.
it each
Estamos hablando
day.
que todos los días hay
In a
300
regular
personas,
year,
en general
2019.
300 jóvenes, que pasan por Villaverde
All of these
y llegan a
people
la nave. Esas personas
walk through
normalmente,
Villaverde, they
muchos
get to
jóvenes
the nave.
llevan un portátil debajo del brazo
Many
o un
of
dron,
these young people
en
have
contraposición con lo que
a
solían ver
laptop
los
or a
jóvenes del
drone.
barrio, que era un chico con un spray para hacer un graffiti.
in contrast to what young people in the neighborhood used to see, which was a person carrying a spray can to make graffiti. So they no longer see a guy with a paint can. Now they see a guy with a laptop, with a drone to do something technological. They realize there are other things in life, something different than what they can see usually in their schools or in television, and this is expanding. Same as when something goes bad in a neighborhood, it expands. When something positive happens in a neighborhood, it also has an impact. That has a huge value. Thank you, Fernando. 3 real examples, 3 cases. I have many cases within innovation from the public or semi-public sector, ecosystems or platforms like a sectorial transformation of the systems used to position a territory within a new industry and improve life quality through mobility, ecosystems for entrepreneurship and innovation, sharing examples. IFEMA, a very good example of places that can be visited and exported as well, of course. I don't know if you would like to highlight anything else. Any questions from the public? Thank you very much for this wonderful conversation, your sense of humor. We don't have any questions here from the platform, but I would like to encourage the people who are here to give us any questions. No? I have a lot.
So, I've read that representatives of public-private companies, one of the challenges when you work with a public authority is the huge amounts of paperwork that are required. Do you still have to do this, or have you changed? Has it become a more straightforward process? Is it possible to make it easier for SMEs to participate with the public authorities? Well, you said something earlier about that, justement. There? Yes. Filling in a tender and all the paperwork is the same as exams. They exist. There's nothing we can do about them. If you want to work with the public sector, you have to learn to fill in all of this. But this isn't actually the real problem. We, for example, have a lot of pilot projects. We like to experiment in Madrid. And so you have to provide an economic bid, and we have to find a common goal, or with innovative platforms, Madrid in Motion, for example, we set out a challenge saying that you could work with us on what would be the future for the EMT in Madrid. Or would you like to say something? Yes, well, I'm a little bit less optimistic, because this is an issue that all administrations have on their table. We'd like to make it easier for us to work with startups and SMEs. But we also have to deal with administration, and that's why there has to be these giant files that have to be filled in, all the paperwork required. And change is happening faster because society wants things to happen faster, and the administration will have to change because we can't carry on like this. We're not prepared for current times. And we're Europeans.
Pero sí hay mecanismos de racionalización administrativa y nosotros, por ejemplo, estamos ultimando la
And
tramitación de
we
una cosa que se llama el sistema dinámico de adquisición, que es uno de los mecanismos de
have
racionalización de la
a
reforma de la ley de
system
contratos, que
which
permite
is to allow us
separar
to
los contratos
choose
público-privados
our
en
contracts,
dos fases. Una, que haces la parte administrativa,
and we divide our public-private
teórico,
contracts into two
y luego,
parts.
cada vez que saco un concurso, voy lanzando la petición concreta y solo haces la oferta sobre lo material. No tienes
And
que
so
volver a mandarnos
you have to provide a bid for the first part, and if you've passed this first part, then when the second part is ready, you only have to fill in a very simple set of documents to be able to bid for the project. And this is probably what I would suggest, is that when you want to bid on a public sector work, you would just have to fill in this administrative document once, and then each time you will just provide the technical proposal afterwards. Well, yes, of course, this is very interesting news. Well, if we don't have any more questions, then, and we've run out of time, I'd like to thank everybody for being here, for your examples and the conversation that you've had. And as you know, with this, we now conclude the second day of Madrid Platform. We hope that you've enjoyed today, because in this room we have seen pretty much everything there is around Madrid Platform. We've talked about sustainability, we've talked about the importance of sport, and how can we manage to create a fairer world through digitalization, with new skills, with collaboration between the public and the private sector, as we've just seen here. And as we saw after lunch, which is the message of the day that I would like to take away, that in America Latina there is a lot of future, there's a lot of potential, there's still a lot to do, and we can work together and achieve great things. And I hope that we can learn from all of these lessons and continue to grow. Thank you very much to everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.